Okay, the asset manager is going to be communicating the ownership expectations and objectives and priorities to the operator. Owners have expectations, both budgetary and operationally. The owner has goals. The asset manager's job is going to be to communicate these things to the operator to make sure that they are followed through on. For the operator, the asset manager serves as a filter and sounding board to ensure the requests made of the ownership are reasonable and appropriate. An example of this would be a hotel wants to change the design of the porticature at the entrance of the hotel to give the hotel an updated look and improve the first impression of the hotel. This is very big for hotels, especially in today's market. First impressions. What is the first impression being made? A first impression can determine whether a guest comes back to a hotel or not. So that matters. So the operator says, I want to have a better porticature here. I want to upgrade it, give it a more modern look, an updated look. So they run their design idea and estimated cost by the asset manager, providing the asset manager with the reasoning for it, the financial implications of this, and then the asset manager is going to provide their own input and let the operator know if this is a good idea at present or not. Or even if the owner will consider it or simply laugh it off. Or if the owner has a higher priority than upgrading the porticature. And the asset manager is going to bring these comments to the table before taking this request to the ownership. The asset manager is not going to just say, well, thanks for the information, I'm going to go directly to the ownership. No, that's not serving the job as filter. Excuse me. The asset manager is going to give their own input and could kill it right then and there. The asset manager is going to know what the expectations, or should know what the expectations and objectives are of the ownership. And if this isn't on their priority list, you say, no, try me again next year. So the asset manager is not going to take every request directly to the ownership. They're just not going to do it. They will do their job acting as a filter and facilitator. Now, the CapEx budget process has several discrete steps to be taken, and this is essentially the nuts and bolts part of the process. First, you want to review the property and portfolio objectives with the ownership. Find out what the needs are of the ownership, what their objectives are. The asset manager must gain alignment with the ownership. They need to get everybody on the same page. So the asset manager and the ownership have to have that strong communication going right there. They need to review long-term capital requirements and resources, gain an understanding of any additional owner issues, and decide on the format and timing for presentation of budgets for approval. The format and timing are really important because this is not something that is simply thrown together overnight. This is a process. It has these discrete steps that must be taken. The asset manager and ownership are going to set what the timing is, when they want the budget process to start, when they want all the information in place, all the way to when the final approval is done, or final approval is due. When are the preliminary budgets due? And when is the pre-budgeting property condition report to be done? There must be these discrete steps taken within a predetermined format and time frame. Very important. It's part of the solid organization of this. Now the next step is for the asset manager to communicate these expectations from the owners to the operators. They need to share the ownership's expectations plus property and portfolio objectives with the operators, again to gain alignment with all parties, get everybody on the same page together. The operators need to know what these objectives and expectations are of the owners. The job of the asset manager is to communicate this, facilitate this. They're going to review with the operators the format and timing of the budget submissions to the ownership. The format and timing that worked out with the ownership. So reviewing that with the operator now. and also to ensure that competitive bids are obtained for all capital projects. Now, the operator is going to have a proposed budget ready for the asset manager to review. So this next step comes as the review and revision of this proposed budget. So the asset manager brings the owner's expectations, objectives, everything to the operator. The operator has a budget, proposed budget, ready to go for review here. Now this is where the alignment comes in again. We're going to get everybody together on this, make sure that the owner's expectations are there in that budget. So as part of the review, the asset manager, along with the operator, is going to conduct a physical inspection, or should conduct, at the very least, a physical inspection and walkthrough of the property. This is where the asset manager will see firsthand what is being proposed by the operator in the budget, and also possibly find other items that were left out or that may be of concern to the ownership. So the operator has in the proposed budget all these specific line items for capital projects. But the asset manager needs to see, visually see, get a feel for what this is. This goes back to what we spoke about before. Know your property. All right. The more you know, the better you are at communicating the information. Now the inspection review is a vitally important part of the budget review, and following this, you want to review submitted items for consistency with owner expectations. So following the review, you now know what the operator is thinking. Now you're reviewing the proposed budget from the operator to ensure that it has that is consistent with the owner's expectations. The budget proposed by the operator should be in alignment with the owner's expectations, and any inconsistencies need to be made known and investigated. There should be no surprises in the budget here. But if there are any inconsistencies, tackle them right away. Now, as part of this review process, you want to review projected payback and ROI projections as appropriate. Owners, obviously, this is their money, and they do not like to release capital funds without knowing where their return is coming from. This is their money that they are further investing in the property, and they should be shown that it is a wise investment that they're making. What is their return on this? However, not all capital items have a return and are simply necessary expenditures. For example, a new health code regulation is enacted that requires physical changes to a swimming pool facility. The operator must make these required changes, which are capital expenditures, to comply with the new regulation. This does not provide a financial return, but must be done nonetheless. And this actually happened beginning of 2009. There was a new requirement made of swimming pools that all swimming pool operators across the country, public swimming pool operators, had to comply with a new code upgrade. There's no return on that. It's just necessary. It has to be done. All right, so following the review here, the asset manager will recommend changes, make deletions and additions as appropriate. If the asset manager sees things that are clearly not a priority for the ownership, they may have it deleted immediately. Or if there's an ownership priority that is not included or addressed properly within the proposed budget, the asset manager will direct it to be included. Note, there is no rubber stamping of budgets. No one gets to rubber stamp approvals in this. There must be a methodical review going through this. You, as the asset manager, must do your job in understanding each line item in the CapEx budget. And part of that does include the fact that if there are surprises, if things are not correctly in alignment, you may need to delete some items or make additions.